welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about how to fit your saddle to your horse. So every horse, as you know, has a different back, and also every rider has a different way of riding, and they are short and long in the legs. So fortunately I've got Amerigo saddles that are made to measure to my horses and to myself, but it doesn't always mean that you have to get them made to measure to your horse. It's a matter of how they fit and knowing how they should and shouldn't fit. So it can affect the horses a lot. So the horses could get a lot of back pain depending on where they actually sit on the horse. So I'm going to explain to you how the saddle should fit on the horse and what you can do to try to make it better if you don't have any other options. Okay, so this is Elsa here, and this is her saddle, and it's got her name on, so she's really lucky, aren't you? And I'm going to put it on here. Oh, she's having a big stretch now, which is great before you ride, because she's stretching out her back. You've been listening to us, haven't you? Okay, so I'm going to put this on the horse, and very gently here. And as you can see, if you just come from the side here, that it sits perfectly straight on the horse. It also goes up here a little bit, so there's no pressure on this point here, which is really crucial because you need to be sitting in the middle of the saddle, not at the back of the saddle, but even if I am sitting there, it's not going to push too much down here. So the saddle beautifully finishes up and it's really straight on her. So you just don't want to get any rocking movement, because if you get too much rocking movement, you will get or too much pressure on the withers or too much pressure on the back here. And also I should be able to, I can put my hand clearly down here, and you should be able to, when you stand at the front here, see straight through there, the light at the end of the tunnel. Then you know you've got no pressure at all on the vertebrae, which is exactly what we're trying to avoid, and no pressure or not too much pressure around the withers, and that it's not moving. So the trick of the trade is to make sure your saddle is stable and that it doesn't move, because if it's moving around, it's like having a shoe on that's too big and it's moving around on your foot, and then you're going to get problems in different places on your foot if you go running or walking or whatever. So it's basically the same as having a saddle that fits the horse really well, which is super, super important. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it off and I'm going to put on the saddle pad that I use, just to give it a little bit of extra comfort, and also to reassure that there is no pressure on the vertebrae, which is one of the key points of having a saddle that fits really well. So this is a numna, you could call it, which I call it, and this saddle these numnas are actually made for this saddle, but you can use them on all sorts of saddles. So as soon as I put it on, the first thing I do is put my thumb in here and I pull it up, because then I make sure that there's a lot of space here, that she's free, that she hasn't got any pressure there. There's no chance of it rubbing. Obviously it's very soft because it's sheepskin, and you can see the saddle fits beautifully around here. Okay, we also, doesn't necessarily have to look beautiful, even though it's great if it does, but more important that it works well and that it's functional. That's the number one thing. So yeah, this sits really well, and there are other saddle pads which I'm going to show you. Here's one here, and this one has got panels in it. So this is the brand here, it's a German made, and this has got Velcro pads in. So here at the back and also at the withers there, and they've got some of my horses, I've got these on. This one hasn't got one in, but you can put inserts in here that are made, and you can build them up if the saddle doesn't fit well. So this is a fantastic option if your saddle doesn't feel well, or fit well, sorry. And you can also build up the sides here as well. And then when you put the saddle on, you just have to make sure that this saddle is sitting very, very, very straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get another saddle that doesn't fit her well, and then you can see the difference between her saddle and another saddle. Alright, so this is a saddle that I use for California. She's got a completely different back to Identity. This saddle is a lot wider here, and so it's not going to fit her very well. So I'm going to pop it on and you will see exactly what I mean. So it's actually not so bad on her, to be honest, but there is a bit of too much rocking movement here. It's a little bit too low and too wide on her withers, so it's going to cause some pressure on the withers here. And as you can see, when she puts her head down, the saddle does lift up a bit. So it does have, again, this is a really nice way that it flicks up here without putting the pressure, so that's not too bad. But there would be way too much movement on this saddle, and she would get back pain. And when you've got back pain, everyone knows how it is. There's not much you can do other than rest and stretching, and especially for a horse that's performing at the level she's performing, it's really crucial that I have the right saddle to make sure she's got every opportunity to use the back the best way. So, which is why it's so important to have the right saddle, and why you need to, understand how to put a saddle on and how to get it to fit your horse. So some horses have higher withers, and some horses have like more of a dip in their back. As I said, every horse is different. But yeah, this one probably would also slip a little bit back as well. For sure you need a breastplate, but you can see what would happen is it would start pushing down on the front, then you'd get too much gap here, and then when I would be sitting, it would cause this, as I said before, like this bridging effect. So you could get one of these pads that I mentioned before and pad it up and try to get it really even on the horse. That's a great way of substituting a saddle to fit the horse the right way, but it's great if you've got the opportunity of having someone that knows a lot what they're talking about to help you with that, and it definitely makes a difference to your horse and keeps them a lot happier. So if you've got any questions or comments, please post them down below, and if you want to know any of the products that I'm using, please ask me, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe.